welcome to a brand new episode of Johnson's Court. I'm super excited to be back with you guys, not only me, but Rio Terry as well.
How's it going, y'all?
It's been a minute since we've made a podcast, and I knew that was going to happen just because we've been waiting for the NBA season to conclude, but it's not concluded just yet. This episode brings us to the play-in tournament, and there's one reason why I'm wearing this Lakers shirt right here. And before we get into the play-in tournament, there will be a episode of where on Thursday, I'll go ahead and give it away so you guys, can look forward to it, that once these play-in tournament games get played and the playoffs are set, then we are diving straight into it, and we are going to, dive a little deeper into it. So this is just kind of a little bit of a sneak peek, before you go into the playoffs. So, but first, I didn't, get to ask, you guys are all probably wondering how I'm doing. I'm doing pretty good. But how are you doing, Rio?
I'm good. I'm really good. Just had a birthday yesterday. It was also Easter.
Happy birthday to one of the creators.
Unfortunately, I came in second. I also lost on our fantasy league yesterday, basketball. So, but you know what? It's all right. We got next year.
That is true. I came fourth. It is what it is. So, hey, at least you finished better than me. But, yeah, we're going to get right into it. So, first, before we get into the play-in tournament, we want to talk about the scoring leader, the rebound leader, the assist leader, blocks, and steals per game, just because that's kind of a cool fact to go into. So, we'll start it off here. The scoring leader for your 2022-2023 NBA season is Joel Embiid at 33.1 points per game. Rio, how did you think Joel Embiid was going to be the leading scorer this year?
I mean, honestly, dude, no. Obviously, I've always known that he's had that capability. He's always been a crazy scorer. It's just crazy to see a big man do it, let alone a pretty specific center. He's pretty much always at center. He doesn't really even play forward. So, yeah, dude, it's crazy. But he's been on his tear. I think he has a really good case for MVP. Honestly, if I had to choose MVP, I would probably pick Joel Embiid. I think this is his year to win it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Luka was right behind him in finishing for points per game. He definitely is in the MVP conversation with Jokic as well. The Nuggets did finish as the number one seed, 53-29, as the 76ers finished with a record of 54 wins and 28 losses. They finished third, so we'll see, what happens there. Now, your rebounding leader was Sabonis. He averaged 12.3 rebounds per game. Did you think somebody like Sabonis could average the most rebounds in the NBA with, Rudy Gobert, Anthony Davis, centers like that?
I mean, dude, I think Sabonis came out of the blue in a lot of categories, man. We're in Indiana, so we're somewhat Pacer fans. We like some other teams and some other players throughout the league, but we're definitely some hometown. We like to go to the games and root for our own team, so when he was with us, I was kind of like, he's a little slow. He's our star player is a slow power forward who is offensive minded, and I was thinking that we should move on and do different stuff. But he just went to the Kings, dude. I had him on my fantasy team. Yeah, leading in rebounds. I don't know what he ranked on the points, but he's crazy points scorer. Just had a crazy breakout year. One of the best players in the whole league. So I think not only rebounds, but he surprised me on a lot of stuff this year.
He absolutely did. And the Kings clinched a playoff spot for the first time, and I don't know what that stat is, but I know it's been a very long time for them.
Years, dude. I mean, over a decade.
So, that's really cool to see. He definitely, has played well. The Kings are, what seed are they? They're a third seed, so they finished, with 48 wins and 34 losses. So they'll end up playing the Warriors the first round. Like I said, I can't talk about seeds 1 through 6 because they're set. We'll get in that. We'll get into that on Thursday. But we'll go ahead and move on to the assist leader, which is James Harden, who got traded to the 76ers, and he averaged 10.7 assists per game. Do you think him being traded to the 76ers was able to help him average 10.7 assists per game, or do you think he still could have done it on the Nets?
I mean, he could have done it on the Nets. I really don't know what was happening with him this little stint. I loved the Harden in Houston when he was just a killer. crazy awesome player. And I think that he took a break from that. I don't know if he was just dealing with his own head or if it was the team. But I think that he's back to that, like, super amazing player that we used to know him as. And so,
Yes.
yeah, dude, like, I mean, he has a little less options. Like, he has Joel, obviously, but then the rest of the team, I don't think it was as easy for assists as Kyrie and KD. So, I don't know what was happening over there in Brooklyn, but I'm happy that Harden's on Philly, and I like him over there. I think it's a little more competitive that way.
That is true. Everybody's out of Brooklyn. Nobody wanted to stay, but the second person to finish in assists per game this year was Trae Young at 10.2. And then at third, you have Jokic was at 9.8. So it was definitely close, with the assist leader. And just really cool, like you said. We really get to see the James Harden that we haven't seen in kind of a minute when he's back on the Rockets and things like that. So it's kind of cool. I think he definitely has a chip on his shoulder. He's been really close to win a chip, but, hasn't been to the finals. Or actually, he went there once. Hasn't been back. So this was in there. ESPN posted this. I wasn't really going to add this in there, but, the most three-pointers made per game was Stephen Curry at 4.9. So basically 5 3-pointers per game. Man, changed the game forever. But it's Stephen Curry. He was able to do that. Do you see a shock in that? I mean, I don't personally.
No, definitely, dude. He's still chugging, even, and especially when he won this last chip, I think we all thought that they were done. They did their stint and they're over. But Curry's just proven all the haters wrong, I think, still.
No, for sure. And, like I said, they play the Kings the first round. We'll get into a little bit more on Thursday. But, we'll definitely have a lot to talk about that series for sure. Then you move on to the blocks. Jaren Jackson Jr. led the league in blocks this year at 3.0, so 3 basically. The next person behind him was Nick Claxton at 2.5 on the Brooklyn Nets. I heard a statement from Jaren Jackson Jr. that he thinks he deserves to be Defensive Player of the Year. How are you feeling about that?
Who is the other name? If it's not him, who's the other name in contention? Would it be?
It will. I think it comes out after the play-in tournament when they narrow down their 3 for each award. But let me see if I can find it.
Marcus Smart, he won it last year, right?
He did, correct.
His name should be somewhere in there. Well, I mean, dude, I think that, I think he deserves it. I think that he dealt with some injuries at the beginning of the season. I drafted him with my last pick of the fantasy, just as some insurance, and he came back. He performed amazing, offensively, defensively. He's their anchor. And honestly, I don't know. I think you have the list in front of you, but this block list, man, he's the only, decently big name up there. It's like, where are the stars at? Why aren't the stars, like, where's Joel's name? Where are the big star centers getting blocked at? So I think that is pretty cool that he can do offensive and defensive both. He's had a really good year this year.
No, that is very true. So I'm looking up on NBA. The latest from the poll was March 13th, but obviously, it's a month later now. Could be a little different, but Brook Lopez was number 1. Jaren Jackson Jr. was number 2, and then at 3 was Evan Mobley from the Cleveland Cavaliers. So definitely, not seeing the normal typical players there, it's kind of cool sometimes because you're like, oh, look at these other players just putting in the amount of work and, getting that recognition.
For sure, dude. Yeah, I think Brook Lopez.
Yeah, he had 2.5, so he tied with Nick Claxton as well. So.
I don't know if I would put his name there just because he's got so much help from Giannis, and it's their whole team that's really an amazing defensive juggernaut. Whereas I feel like Nick Claxton and Jaren, they take Nick Claxton, he really takes a bad defensive team, and he's like a really big bright spot.
He is. That is very true.
Nets.
Very true. We'll talk about one more, and this is the last one before we get into the play-in tournament. The steals per game was Mr. OG Anunoby. There we go. He averaged 1.9 steals per game. Now, if I look up who was in contention with him, you have Jimmy Butler at 1.8, which makes sense. He's definitely up there. And then Fred VanVleet at 1.8. So two guys off the Raptors on the top three. I'm going to look up who won that last year because I don't know. Do you know who won the steals per game last year? Steals per game. Man. When you don't type in the calculator, right? Game.
Jimmy, 2.1.
So it was Jimmy last year. So made sense that he was, still in the, contention this year as well. But does OG, surprise you? Does that surprise you at all?
Yeah, dude. He's a really good defensive player, and I don't think that, and that doesn't surprise me that he can get some steals. But to have his name up there, with Jimmy, he's been one of the best defenders, the past few years. So I think to have his name up there is really awesome. I think, he could probably make a case for Defensive Player of the Year too on that Raptors team. So that does surprise me. That's one of the little more surprising ones.
And then it's kind of cool. So I'm looking at the top 10 here, and you have Gary Trent Jr. in the top 10 as well with 1.6. He's number 7. So this is wow, just insane to see, 3 players off the Raptors. It's kind of shifting things in my mind a little bit when, I get to talk about them here in a little bit. But that's it for our scoring leaders. That's where they finish out the year. So this is correct. Now, like I said, the awards will come out here soon, and then obviously we'll pick our MVP or our Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, things like that as well. So moving on to the play-in tournament that you guys have all been waiting for. Tuesday night, which is tomorrow. The Hawks and Heat kick it off at 7:30 p.m. The Hawks finished with a record of 41-41, so even 500. And the Heat finished off with 44 wins and 38 losses. Rio, so this is between the... Is this between the 7th and 8th seed? See, if I had it pulled up correctly. So this is between the 7th and 8th seed. So whoever wins this game will automatically clinch that 7th seed. Who do you have clinching the 7th seed and playing the Boston Celtics in the first round?
Man, I like ATL. I like Atlanta. I like Trae Young and what he can do. I'm just a little more confident in Miami. I feel like they got more playoff experience. I feel like they got more veterans. They got Jimmy.
Correct. They have a more well-rounded team, I feel like.
I agree, dude. The coaching, Eric Spoelstra is just more veteran. They're just a more veteran is the word that just comes to my mind when I think about this matchup.
Correct.
So give me the Heat, man. Even though I really like ATL and I want to see Trae Young do really good in this league, dude. And I think that maybe the Heat they're probably going to pass their window when Jimmy moves on. Unless they can pair someone up with Bam Adebayo.
Very true.
So I would like to see the Hawks do better in the future, but I'm thinking the Heat's going to pull out this one, man. What do you think?
See, this is hard because the Hawks can, they're not. I don't think they're favored to win this game. I feel like the Heat are definitely favored to win this game. And like you said, the veteran experience really sticks out to me a lot, and that's why I want to pull for the Heat. But then when you look at the Hawks, they're not a team that just a sweep under the rug. They can make a run. They knocked out New York in the first round last year, I think it was. Maybe the year before. So it's not to say that the Hawks can't beat the Heat, because they 100% can. But I just think that, I have to agree with you. With the Heat, with the veteran experience, with Jimmy Butler, being second, I think he can guard. When you look at the Miami Heat, all 5 of their players can guard everybody. So that's, defense wins games, and that's why I'm going to have to go with the Heat as well. So you and I will both go with the Heat. Let me write this down so we have it for our records. And then at 10 o'clock p.m., you've got the Timberwolves playing the Los Angeles Lakers for that 7th seed as well. I'll go ahead and go here first. The T-Wolves are without Rudy Gobert, and that is because he punched Kyle Anderson in the face or well, at least took a swing at him. Which I get it, tempers flare, things like that. But at the same time, you got to learn how to control your anger, especially at this time of the year. Like that's ridiculous. So this game is more of a coin flip than the Heat and the Hawks game, I feel like. Just because, Lakers have been battling with injuries. LeBron's been playing well lately. AD's been playing well lately. They traded for D'Lo. They're getting hot at the right time. I think the T-Wolves are falling down. Obviously Pat Beverly was on the T-Wolves last year. He's not right now. So maybe if they had Pat Bev, this might be a little different of a story, because when they won their playing game, they felt like they won the championship the way that they celebrate. So that was kind of funny. But I got to go, hometown, Lakers here, AD, LeBron, D'Lo. Like I said, they definitely made the right moves at the deadline. And like I said, they have the momentum going for them at the right time. And I'm going Lakers here. What do you say, Rio?
That's a really good take, dude. And I think that the last one was more of a coin flip, man. Because I could see, it's one game. So I could see the Hawks, coming out and just Trey being crazy. But this one, dude, I feel a lot more confident. And I'm going to agree with you and say the Lakers, I think that they won the trade, short term at least, with the Timberwolves. So they made a trade earlier. They got D'Lo, Pat Bev, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got Pat Bev, right?
Who?
Lakers.
They traded his ass.
Oh, they got, okay, yeah. So they got rid of him. But anyway, yeah, and they're just on a roll. Davis has been healthy. LeBron's been healthy, just like they're going to be healthy like this game. They were healthy last game. D'Lo, all the pieces. There's been a lot of videos on social media saying Austin Reeves is the new GOAT. So
wild.
He's coming into his own.
He is, though. I mean, he's definitely like, the next Alex Caruso.
Possibly. There's always one on the Lakers. So, but yeah, man, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go with Lakers. I don't think that Towns alone is going to get it done.
I mean, they do have Anthony Edwards and things like that, but I just, with Rudy being out, that's a huge liability, and LeBron knows that he can't go home. At least he can go home in the first round, but he just can't go home. But then Wednesday night, the next day following that, we have 2 more games. So this is super exciting. You've got the 10th seed, the Bulls, with, I didn't write the record down. It's very important to have the record. You need to know. They had 40 wins and 42 losses, and they're playing the Raptors, who have 41 wins and 41 losses. So, oh man. Rio, go ahead and give your opinion first here, because I got to think about this one just a minute.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I know that the Raptors, they've been dealing with their fair share of injuries this year. And so I think that they have underperformed in that case, just because, injuries, can't always take a part of it. But Siakam seems to be healthy.
True.
Everyone seems to be in check. I like the Bulls, man. I like a lot of their players. I think that they're a little more of an offensive juggernaut. And so I'm gonna go with the Raptors. They got those numbers in the blocks, or was it steals or blocks? Steals.
They had steals.
Steals.
They had 3 players in the top 10.
Dude, that's just crazy. And then they got Pascal Siakam, being one of the best players in our league.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
So Raptors, I think.
No, that's a great take as well, because as much as I like Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan was one of my favorite players of all time, favorite 2K player. But the Bulls play well, the Raptors play well too. But, not having Lonzo is definitely going to hurt you for sure. But they do have Pat Bev. So Pat Bev is on the Bulls, but is that enough to cause a ruckus? Because whoever loses this game is out. It's win or lose, go home or continue on and play the loser of the 7 and 8 game. And I don't want you guys to feel like I'm agreeing with Rio here, but I am, because what he says and what I see backs it up as well. 3 players in the top 10 for steals. Yes, they've had their fair share of injuries. Still have the Bulls, but I just think the Raptors have a little bit more of a complete team, and I just think I like their head coach as well. I like Billy Donovan as well in the Bulls, so it's hard to tell, man. But I gotta go Raptors as well. So where are
The
you
Bulls
going?
are super exciting to watch. Like, don't get me
Oh,
wrong.
yeah.
It's going to be a good game. I think all these are going to be showdowns.
Correct. And then the West, you have Oklahoma City Thunder, who have the youngest team, who have the most draft picks at 40 and 42 at this 10 seed, playing the New Orleans Pelicans, the 9 seed at 42 and 40. This game comes on at 9:30, so this will be the last game on Wednesday. Winner go home. Man, I feel like this is a coin flip as well because, I mean, yes, the Pelicans have Zion, okay. It may be more of an advantage in their way. I love CJ McCollum to death, man. Brandon Ingram, he's a dog. Valanciunas, he's really good as well. I know personally I'm rooting here for the Pelicans. I'm going to pull for the Pelicans. I like him a lot. I mean, it's not to say that I'm not rooting for the Thunder because they're still good too. I may not know many of their names. I may know Josh Giddey is probably the only player that I know on that squad, or I know Chet as well. But he got hurt, so he didn't play this season. But I don't know. It's not to say that the Thunder couldn't be a sleeper team, but they're a 10 seed for a reason. Is what I guess I'm saying. So. And the Pelicans could definitely be a higher seed, especially with Zion back. But I think the Pelicans pull this out. But this is going to be a great game. What do you think, Rio?
All right, bro. We're going to disagree. Is this our first? If I disagree, is this our first disagreement?
That would be it. Yeah. Yeah.
I think this is going to be our first disagreement, man.
That's good. That's good.
And I'll tell you what. I like your pick, dude. The Pelicans, they don't got a bad squad. They got Brandon Ingram. They got CJ McCollum. You said Zion's going to be back?
No, Zion's not going to be back. They keep putting him back, and he's working towards it, but I don't think he'll come back this year.
Well,
I don't.
It does change things a little bit with Zion. I think it makes it a little less entertaining. But There's one name you forgot to mention on the Thunder, and that is Mr. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Oh, yes.
I forget what number, but he's top 10 in points, top 10 in steals.
He is actually
top 10 in assists.
Yeah.
He's a dog.
Certified.
The Thunder, man, they've been doing it right. Like you said, they are one of the youngest teams, got the most draft picks. They got Chet recovering on the bench ready for next year.
Correct.
I just think that they're doing what I just feel like the Timberwolves should be in that position already. I just feel like the Pelicans are getting better. They're definitely getting better and they're impressing. But there's just teams that, I just think that the Thunder are doing stuff right. Like the process stuff, they're rebuilding super fast. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Thunder. With Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Oh yeah.
He's been resting. I think he's just going to drop bombs on him, man.
Absolutely, man. And, like I said, not to discredit the Thunder, Shai has definitely been leading them. I think he was definitely top 5 in points, I'm pretty sure. Definitely has been playing well this year, with assists as well. So my team is definitely forming and playing well. But before we go, this is what we're going to do. We have the Heat going on to the 7th seed. So they would play the Boston Celtics in the first round. You and I both have the Lakers playing the Grizzlies in the first round. So that's set for us. But I eliminated the Bulls. You eliminated the Bulls. So that means the Raptors would go on and they would play the Hawks to see who would play Milwaukee Bucks. So we're going to go over that real quick. So now we have the Hawks playing the Raptors. Who do you see coming out on top here?
I mean, I probably got the Raptors, man. I feel like I like the defensive factor. I know that these are just single games, and like I said, Trae Young, he might make me bite my word. But
True,
I'm going to go ahead and pick the Raptors again. I just think a little more complete of a team. No discredit to Atlanta. I think they're fun, super exciting. They got weapons, but I think that the Raptors are a little more solid.
No, correct. And I'm going to have to agree with you there as well because, as we said before, 3 players on top, 10 of steals. They're playing well. That will be a good game as well. The Hawks, with Murray as well. He's just a little bit taller. Maybe shoots a little better. Inside game. John Collins and everything that they got going on there. But it'll be a good game for sure. But I'm going to go Raptors as well. So we both will have the Raptors playing the Milwaukee Bucks. So that will be fun. But then this is where we disagreed, so I will give mine first. I have the Pelicans playing the T-Wolves. Now, like I said, even if the T-Wolves lose, they will have another game. Rudy will be back for that game. Now, I still don't think... if Zion plays, that'll be a different story. But let's put the T-Wolves in playing the number 1 seed, and I think the Ant-Man can carry him too. So I'm gonna go T-Wolves.
Okay.
You have the Thunder playing the T-Wolves. Who wins that matchup?
I mean, dude, I'm still gonna rock with the Thunder. I do not trust the T-Wolves. I know they got Edwards. I know they got Towns. I don't know if Rudy will be back by then.
He will. He's only suspended 1 game.
Gotcha. He's only suspended 1 game.
Yep.
I mean, that's going to be tough. But let me go ahead and still pick the Thunder, man. Let me go ahead and lock that pick in.
Understand, and that's kind of how I wanted to feel about the Pelicans. But I was like, you know what? Towns can do some work. He missed time this year. Came back, had a extremely tremendous game. So, we'll see if, he can be the leader of that team like he's supposed to be, that Kentucky Wildcat, and see if he can, lead them to the playoffs. But they would have a, hard path to get there. But that is it for us, guys. It's super exciting that the play-in tournament's here because then we get to, like I said, talk about the playoffs on Thursday. So be ready. Look out for that. Next episode, have your notifications turned on. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I know it's been a minute, but that's the way it goes. There were some basketball videos uploaded. Season 2 is done for Southside. I don't know where I'm going to play there again, guys, but that is a wrap on my career there. If I have to hang it up at Southside. So thank you guys once again so much for tuning in, and we will see you again here soon. Peace out, y'all.